Hi, this is Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, here to fix you and help you grow your property and your business affairs to the next level. So if you're looking for knowledge and insights about how to get involved in property, solve your problems about scalability in your property business, then do watch our 20-minute clips. We've taken them from hundreds and, well, thousands of videos that we've taken over the last 6 months, and we've broken them into simple chunks which can make them useful for you. So do watch and do subscribe to our YouTube channel underneath as well.
Pardon?
Yeah, I agree. Dads.
Yeah, there's a couple of dads out there who probably have to do the same thing. I totally agree. Yeah. But in the flow of normality, the majority will be mothers who are working mothers who are having to do that. And I think not even working mothers, just mothers having to cope with kids indoors. It's, I don't know. I can't imagine being put in that situation.
Yeah, this is something I get really angry about, because we knew a second lockdown, a third lockdown was coming. We knew this was coming. We talked about this last March even. And a lot of money has been wasted, I believe. And there is still children here in the UK. Some schools in the UK, up to 60% of the children have no access to online learning. None.
You know, I would have thought, I mean, Mary, I mean,
why not?
I don't mean to cut you in, sorry about that, Mary, but I'm just going to put the question to Lakhi, because he's sitting in the heart of the country. He's responsible in some respects, sitting there and not giving an answer to us for these things. I would have thought by now, Whitehall would have realized that all these children could have quite conveniently be accommodated in some large center or in some commercial building where they could have got their education, gone in, and at least got that, if it's not face-to-face, at least it's the experience of going into a school environment, learning discipline, continuing that mode of education, which is not all about the books. It's just sitting disciplined as they are meant to be trained, waiting to graduate and become good, obedient citizens. What do you say to that, Lakhi? How much responsibility do you take and the City of London take in your failure to be able to provide all these things to parents?
I take no responsibility, because I'm not responsible for the undoings or the doings or the big doings of the government.
The big doings, yes. The big doings, that's what I would call it. Call it a big doing.
Exactly. So yeah. I think it is really weird that we're almost living in a third world country in terms of the way poor communities are being treated. I think Bradford, they're saying that 90% of people in the poor areas actually had no access to internet whatsoever. So I think they were trying to do something about it. And I think there's one school, this is about 2 weeks ago, I think they'd only given away 4 laptops for free for families that have that at home. I think you might have seen the same bit of news. And then, but they did say on a positive note that they're going to release 5,000 new laptops to be able to help or assist. But I think even that merely is not going to be enough if you've got a mass population. Bradford's not really a small little village or something with 500 people. So you're going to have, I think the disparity in this problem is really bad. But I think because so many people are just frightened, I think VJ Sell may not realize this because he's always in his helicopter. That the frenzy that's on the news now, you won't really believe. Even isolating yourself at home, people are now scared to probably even live with anybody else if somebody else is traveling in and going to their day-to-day work. So it's creating so much divisiveness in people's lives as well, because they don't know whether they're coming or going.
Okay, you've not answered the question. I don't think me or MC FMM are satisfied with your answer about having prepared for the second wave and giving children that environment they needed by just tweaking the location a bit and giving them open warehouses or open.
It's not possible because it's not, because we, as we know right now, obviously the virus is out of control, and so we have to isolate. We have to stay in bubbles. We have to stay in homes. But my point is that from last March, it was apparent children would need access to online learning. Families need access to online. Can you imagine if you take away us having an internet connection? Do you think people are going, like, we're all got connected?
They're going to go mad. People are going to go mad. They're going to go mad. They're going to go crazy.
And also, not just that, they need to have the Wi-Fi connection. You know, all these things take time to install and stuff. So, yeah, I do agree with you. You know, it's completely under-resourced.
Okay, so the question, before we take the question back to Lakhi and make him accountable for not trying to answer our question, but trying to be an ever slick politician, I'd say. So I think when people start making too much money or start rubbing shoulders with the rich and famous, they become half politicians, I think, and they try to avoid answering very straight questions. But before we ask Lakhi Singh to answer that question, we'll give a shout out, obviously, to Meena, to Zishan. We've got John, and we've got Mandy, and we have George Martin. That's right. And we've got this famously the singer D20man on YouTube watching us. Good morning, D. Yeah, get my throat. Have a duet with D one day, singing something that's like a country western song. I've got that sort of folk appearance about me. I'm sure I'm going to be able to match these abilities. Right, Lakhi Singh, what have you got to say for yourself then?
He's on mute.
I'm not responsible for the government's purse and
I know.
big doings. So, but what I can say is that I think if you want me to be like the government or play act as if I'm part of the government, I think they've got a lot to answer for. I think they've got a lot to answer for.
Can you apologize first then for your omission?
I actually sent an apology part for the government because I definitely think they're not doing a good job in terms of dealing with this, because I'm just saying it's worse than actually being a third world country. I think you get more laptops in third world countries and students now, and because they're dime a dozen type situation.
Can you give me the answer to this question? If you're speaking on behalf of government, can you give me is this some clever plot to check group and psychology? Is this some sort of like psychological test you're imparting on the public to see how we react, how we behave to being oppressed and disconnected with our family and our friends? Can you tell us, is there some plot by some bold back office White House colleague? I'm going to plan a new trick on the public. Is there someone there making you do all this, Lakhi Singh?
Well, I think there's probably an element of mind control that's going on at the moment, because where we're at is literally they're controlling people to the nth degree. I mean, next you'll know, Mary, that you won't be able to go to the toilet at a certain time, and then you have to wait 24 hours before you go to the toilet or something.
Then you got the headline, you got the break there from spokesman of the government. Toilet times are going to be restricted.
Bang.
What do you say to that, Mary, MC, Femem?
Well,
what do you say to that? Can you imagine our toilet times being regulated?
I don't really like political debates, if I'm honest. And
right.
I just think
for the government.
No,
are you going to accept? Am I going to accept being told when to go to the toilet?
BJ, I'm not even going to answer that. We have far more important issues to discuss this morning.
Yes, let's get back on track. Okay, let's get back on track then. Okay.
I was going to say that VJ sounds on a roll.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's on a toilet roll, to be honest.
Well done. Well done. MC Femem sort of giving me what for.
I think I think let MC sort it out. VJ Sal. I think she knows, she's on the ball, mate.
VJ Sal, word for word, joke for joke. I love that. On a toilet roll. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting back to the conversation. Right, Lakhi Singh, a question to you. We're talking about passive income. Right, okay. We're talking about how do we use the RAC model, the Rescue My Properties Associates, RAC, the Rescue Associates model to make a passive income. In light of the fact you're probably not even going to have the tools to do that. How are you going to do it then? Are you going to do it over the phone if you haven't got internet and a laptop to communicate on?
I think that I think most people that are, how do you say, adults, they're more likely to be having a laptop to be able to run the program, so that's not going to be a major issue. But just for those people that don't know what the RAC program is or what it even stands for, it's a Rescue Associate program where you can become an associate with the Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, by joining one of my brands, which is called RescueMyProperties, which is actually literally 15 years of fighting the banks and looking at ways of solving problems for people who've got a problem with selling their property, a legal problem, getting finance, dealing with the HMRC issue, so negative equity problems. So basically, the strangest thing out of all this, Mary, you won't believe, is that whatever we've been doing for the last 15 years is actually ready as a product to help people now in this very market, in this space. So I was just saying to Mary before you joined the call, BJ, is that we've had more clients coming to us in the last 72 hours than we had in the whole of last year. So we picked up literally 50 properties which need some sort of restructuring or resale, or they've got negative equity. So the thing is, I can't do this alone. So I'm going to need people out there who've got maybe time on their hands, who've got a laptop, they're on social media, they've got access to people that are involved in property business, and we want to give out our solutions. And the membership is free.
Okay. So there you have it. There's one angle there, and I think the angle there is anybody with a laptop. So anybody with a laptop, anybody got access to a telephone, anybody who's got an idea of how to use social media and networks, they can make a passive income. And I think there's another flip side to the lockdown. I'm going to ask MC Femem if she agrees. In lockdown, although there's a lot of psychology, a lot of stress, probably, and her situation, just like lots of other mothers out there who've got kids to manage as well as a job, it's times 100. I can't imagine what the mental stresses are, and I think it's appreciated and it's admirable that she's up and she's around and she's getting things sorted in her best way. But in a funny way, in an odd way, when you look at the silver lining in the grey cloud, being locked in because of the fear, hasn't that reduced your outgoings and the cost of your living then? Doesn't it allow you to accumulate a bit more money and use it for, if you are clever, using it to do business online or create some residual income, which is what we're talking about, passive income? Isn't that maybe the silver lining, one of the silver linings in the grey cloud? Can you do that? Could you do that?
Me, yeah. I think because my business is, you know, I'm a property provider, so I have got serious issues at the moment with tenants who are in major rent arrears. Legislation was changed as well, and us landlords have been really hung out to dry in this pandemic. I think we would all agree. There is no other provision, there is no other fund for landlords who have got major rent arrears. We're not allowed to evict people at the moment, unless, and it's all meant to go through universal credit, through the tenant, which is extremely difficult because obviously a tenant can stop communicating, a tenant has to give permission for you know, so that's what I'm dealing with a lot of the time at the moment, problems like that. And also I also have a service accommodation business, which is empty at the moment because we're in lockdown, we're shut. So, you know, I'm also trying to get to keep that going. So no, I've had, you know, my income will be reduced because I don't have as much coming in. So yeah, I think we have saved in as far as holidays and all sorts of stuff like that. Absolutely. But I've had to buy laptops, I've had to buy equipment, I've had to buy better phones, I've had to upgrade a lot of stuff, I've had to make home offices for the children. I've had, you know, so me personally, there's been a lot of expense around that. I had to buy another new computer last week because the other computer broke. I had to buy another printer, you know, so, but there's no, well, apparently there is grants or something for that, but I haven't actually seen them. So,
yeah, I think a lot of these policies or grants take time to trickle down. So
yeah,
hopefully there is hope there. I hope you do get that support, at least a little bit, a little silver line, not a big one, but a little silver lining in the race.
I'm grateful. I'm not in a bad situation like some people, but
you're a lovely soul. You're a lovely soul, MC. You're a lovely soul.
I think also what we need to be right now is really empathetic towards one another, you know, and even on social media when people are saying, oh, I'm smashing it, I'm doing amazing, I've tripled my business, or I've done this, that, or the other. There's just such disparity at the moment between how this is playing out for every household, for every individual.
I think I agree with you in that way, because people in the city, I think where Lakhi's at, where he's, you know, he's apparently done more business than his whole year last one few weeks or whatever he says. I think there is the obvious disparity of the big city as opposed to the smaller smaller areas and cities, and I think the city, the square mile, has always been full of you know, obstinance and obscenity and opulence and excessiveness. And I think, Lakhi Singh, do you recognize that even though there are people out there who are finding it difficult to make, you know, to keep up the general cost of living, even especially those who are self-employed, there's a big disparity because you're getting these large deals come to you, and I understand that these deals probably take a longer time to close, but isn't it a show of what England really is, that there's a big disjoint between the smaller cities and the north? And I mean, although MCFMM is from is it Bournemouth, I think I remember. Brighton, that's right. It was just Brighton, just around the corner. But still, you know, it isn't City of London, is it? It's not the square mile. So what do you think this time shouldn't it be about being empathetic in terms of curbing some of that?
I disagree with that statement. I don't think I think everybody's suffering, to be honest. I mean, a lot of the businesses that are in this building yesterday, I think there's a lot of like Chinese whispers going around about, oh yeah, the government want to close everything down. They want to close every single office down. They also want to now close a lot of takeaways down as well. So you can't wait, you just have to click and collect. You can't really wait there. So I think there's a lot of
they're taking the human interaction. They're trying to take the human interaction away from it.